Hell no. I'm just an honest scab. I won't have talk like that around here.
His neck muscles tense up. The veins on his neck bulge.
Fucking fuck. How about you fuck off now, huh?
Okay, of course.
There could be weapons aiming at us right now. Somewhere above, in the buildings. The other merc. Don't push this, he's thinking. This is not the time. The man's breathing steadies, but his eyes are still narrow. Slowly, he's trying to get his right-to-work dance back on. It's hard to do that when you want to beat a man into a pulp instead.
Right to work! Right to work! Don't think so.
Suddenly, this feels like a really, really bad idea. Silence. He takes the photo. Grey eyes dart back and forth on the glossy surface. His face is unmoving. You see dead flesh in colorful rivers of polychrome, melting skin and hair.
Fucking loincloths. Really did him in. Yeah.
He's clenching his teeth. There is silent pressure behind them.
What it means. I can tell you what this one means. Only one. You want to hear what happened here? Our colonel is deep in the bush here. Deep in the fucking bush. In Benital, 41. Monsoon season. He's on a reconnaissance mission. He spent a month behind enemy lines, scouting kipped villages. Nothing but fucking bugs and snakes for fun. Men are getting restless. There's talk of switching employers.
With some strange emotion, this is about to get really graphic. Last moment to back off.
Our boy, he's only a captain then, but he knows how these men think. If they don't see action soon. At dawn, he comes upon two kids, breeding in the bushes by the river. Or maybe they weren't breeding. Maybe they were just making eyes at each other. I like to think they were breeding. We shot the boy. He was useless, but the girl, she was nice. A little fat, you know, but not too old. She was quite the entertainment for the week she lasted, expired in the hands of Sarge Mason. The kind of guy who'd make Chief there shit his pants and cry like a bitch. God. Mason couldn't let go. Cut the tits off her cold body. Drowned in a creek a week later. Spirits my ass.
Something stirs in you. There's a word on the tip of your tongue. Colorless. Odorless. It's...
fucking mask is getting sweaty. I want to take my mask off.
He's under orders, and orders are orders.
You bet it was. It's just nature. This guy, he used to say evil is when nature and spirit meet in the wrong place. No, I was in the domain, in Jamrock, being a bouncer. Go ahead. All right, now.
On the photo in your hands, the dead man...
Your race descent has only worsened since I last saw you. You have really let yourself go.
Just like that, instinct took over. A solid strike straight into his throat, into the cartilage. You could swear you felt the soft palate break. The man is reeling, gasping for air. Time stands still around you. In the distance, the sounds of the harbor are falling silent. All you hear is a small gurgling sound as a trickle of blood appears on the man's lip. He's open. Rip into him. Right hook. Escalate it. Get intimate with him. Bring the hurt closer. Oh God, wrong move. Your fist is in his hand again, like a pair of forceps.
You know the words.
Take the pain, goddammit. At least take that. even under the increased...
It must be neurodegenerative. You never learn.
Just like that, the man... All you hear is a small gurgling. Don't wait. You've only got a millisecond. He's coming to. Time is breaking loose from the stupor. His left hand curls, that fighting pose. Watch out. He's expecting the hook. The man lands with a dull thump, like a broken-down puppet of muscles and sinew. For a moment, he still tries to keep his head up, dazed eyes looking at you with unimaginable surprise. To your left is the button. As you slam your fist on the button, the man collapses entirely, his head rolling to the side.
Looks like you're the new measurehead now.
Her voice is surprisingly calm.
No one is the new measurehead. Let's go, before he gets up.
The man is... The tarpaulin. As your fingers touch the tarpaulin, it almost feels like the cloak wants to deliver a message of comfort through your fingertips. I will shield you from the elements and give my life for yours. On second glance, someone has forgotten to properly close one of the drawers.
It's unfortunate for the Union to just leave their paperwork lying around like this.
Let's see what's inside, he thinks. The drawer opens smoothly. Inside is a well-organized selection of brown folders. Hundreds of documents containing logistical data. Two kinds of transactions stand out. Materials coming into Revachol from the outside world, from Muindi, Grad, and even Ilmara, and the same materials being handed over to companies inside Revachol. Kuron, Coal City, La Delta, and Jamrock are listed among the many districts where the imports are being sold. It's hard to make sense of this thicket of company names, dates, quantities, and percentages. You try to focus, but the lines are getting blurry. Hundreds of documents containing logistical data. Two kinds of transactions stand out. Materials coming into Revachol from the outside world, from Muindi, Grad, and even Ilmara. And the same materials being... You already went through all of these.
Whatever's hidden here is hidden well. Concentration isn't enough. Only a trained accountant
with a background in logistics would be able to really make sense of it. However, it appears to be a to-do list written in large, uneven capital letters. Remember, Leo, Everard's shoes, special whirling borscht, water Everard's plants, sweep office floor, more banners. All items on the list have been crossed out and the note itself is crumpled.
Everard Clare, probably. The head of the Debarders Union. One of his aides must have left it. Nothing incriminating here.
What is so special about this borscht? Code for drugs? Booze? Blood? Remember, Leo, all items on the list have been crossed out and the note itself is crumpled. The drawer slides shut smoothly. An imposing combination of a punch clock and a payphone is looking down at you from the wall. A note on the side says, "Tokens unavailable due to strike. Use change." The machine swallows your coin and seems to be waiting for your next move. Snow is quietly covering the numerous wine bottles and cigarette butts on the ground. Someone partied really hard here. Well, they went through 6 bottles of potent Pilsner, 3 bottles of Commodore Red, and almost 4 packs of cigarettes. It must have been pretty hard.
Well, yes, I think we can say with relative confidence that it was you. I am, but it doesn't matter right now.
This is the night watchman's booth. The name on the door reads, René Aaaaaa.
If you must. But please hurry. We are pretty easy to spot up here.
Nothing incriminating catches your eye. The cabinets are clean and their sparse contents meticulously organized. There's a framed photograph on the table. It's a black and white photo of a young couple out in a street fair. The man, René, is dressed in a Royal Carabinieri uniform. The girl is young and very pretty. She is smiling playfully. René looks like he's about to smile. This photo must be tied to some good memories.
Why did you take that picture of René? You're really interested in that old soldier. Not sure I understand your fascination, but sure, as long as it doesn't take up a whole lot of time.
A rusting control panel with several knobs. 2 buttons marked Marche and Arrête are faded with use. It seems to control the large crane above. A container is attached to its hook block. The crane stands tall, proud, erect, and still. With a loud grind, the crane shifts overhead, moving a massive metal container through the air. And, with a surprisingly quiet thunk, the crane places the container down.
This crane was built with a purpose, which has now been fulfilled. To move this container. Who can say? All you know is, it's special.
I can't see how that was worth the ruckus, except for seeing the crane in action, which I admit was satisfying.
The crane does not return to its original position. It does not.
Container, container, I'll turn you nice and red. Container, container, put the logos on. Container, container, used to be Wild Pines. Container, container, now belongs to Everard. Everard, 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 he looks after everyone. Huh? Well, hey there. How can I help you, mister?
The look in his deep blue eyes is as sincere as you've ever seen. Kind of makes you feel like an arsehole for no apparent reason.
I see you are not a union man, mister. Did you get lost? You're not one of them scabs, are you? I mean, I don't personally mind. Folks is just folks, you know, and folks gotta eat. Just some of the other guys don't look too kindly on the scabbing kind, if you know what I mean, mister. Oh, I'm just making some covers for them containers here. Yes I am, yes I am. So it's easier for the crane operators to spot them. Sure, mister. About what? Oh, most of the guys are down at the gates, keeping the scabs from coming in. We're on a strike. The whole union is. You don't have to work when you're on strike. Ha! We haven't worked for 2 months now.
So no one is working?
Not everyone is down there, of course. Mr. Evrard is in his office, where he always is. And Jean-Luc is guarding the gate. But Titus and his boys got into some drunken trouble and Evrard sent them on a nice vacation. For a week or so. Oh, I'm not really supposed to talk about that. That's union business. Him and his boys stirred up something in town. Probably drank too much and got into a fight or something. I heard Mr. Evrard telling them to take some time off.
Don't go all bad cop on this simple, friendly fellow.
I guess the boys got a bit too rowdy and had to let out some steam. I don't really know the details. That's just how boys are, you know. I haven't been in a fight since I was in middle school.
Easy, Leo. Let's keep this on the hearties.
Too late. Leo's mouth is still moving, and the words are spewing forth. Words, words, and look, even more words. This guy could go on till the end of day. Now he's talking about some drunk sawmill owner who... No, he already switched to a prized fishing rod he apparently owned at some point. You know what? Just cut in there with your questions.
Yes, yes. Everybody needs a job, and this is mine. I'm Leonard, by the way. Leonard Bellick. But everyone calls me Leo. I'm like Mr. Everett's right-hand man when Mr. Edgar is out of town, and Mr. Edgar's right-hand man when Mr. Everett is away. Actually, Miss Beaufort is the right-hand man, but she's a lady.
Who is this, Miss Beaufort?
A real pretty lady with a skin like those Douai Sucre candy bars my missus likes so much. Them are real nice to suckle on once the dinner is done and me and the missus sit down beside the radio. But I can't listen to the radio all the time. There's so much to do around here and I'm always busy keeping things running here. Yes I am, yes I am.
Stay on this Miss Beaufort topic. You see disdain in the lieutenant's dark eyes when they meet yours for a moment. He does...
Oh, mister, I do a lot more than that. I really do most everything around here. Mr. Everett said many times I'm irreplaceable.
He really takes great pride in being in Everett's good graces.
Yes, I'm like, actually,
Who is this?
a real, but I can't...
Stay on this.
Oh, Lizzie, she is a real sharp tool. Mr. Everett put her through some fancy school and everything, east of the river. 4 years she was gone, and when she came back, she was all fancy and lawyerly. But she's a real nice girl. Grew up in this here neighborhood, knows everybody and gets along with everyone. Real pillar of the community one day.
For a fraction of a second, there's sadness in his eyes.
If me missus and me was to have a child, I'd be real happy if she turned out like her. But she can't have kids. Dr. Lemaitre said so, and she knows about such things. Been a doctor for almost 50 years, she has.
Law school? Could she be talking about the union fixer, aka the gardener?
Looks like it.
I'm not sure what a fixer is, but she is a real nice girl. Smart as a whip, too. Oh, yes, yes. I leave all kinds of notes for myself. That old head of mine ain't so good at keeping things in no more. I almost forgot about the borscht. Oh, yes. I've been taking special whirling borscht to the men every day since the strike started. It's very, very good. Makes a man feel so warm and happy. I feel like I could take on Mr. Renadan's boar dogs every time the lunch is done.
Power borscht, huh? Never heard of a borscht that turns little guys into dogfighters. Alcohol, however.
Yes, yes. I'm taking it to them. The borscht keeps them happy and in fighting spirits. Makes you all warm inside. They brew it in the whirling in rags. Oh, the whirling's cook. He makes it. Them is always talking with Mr. Manana in that weird language and laughing together. He doesn't speak what we speak. He's from Grad. Oh, sure, mister. Sure. You do that. Yes, sir. Oh, that one. That should be empty as far as I know. Lots of containers here have nothing in them. They're just waiting to be loaded up. Oh, you want Mr. Everett then? He's an awfully nice fellow, he is. Him and his brother are both nice fellows. They've lived their entire lives in this here neighborhood. Guys like Mr. Everett and Mr. Edgar, his brother, are real good guys. Made Martinez what it is today. Mr. Everett and Mr. Edgar and I went to the same school we did when we were boys.
Patience. Deep down you have the mental power to keep listening. Not many would, but you do.
Had an arithmetics teacher, Miss Bellows. Her real name was Miss Bellams. She was a real pretty lady, but when she got mad, all the boys liked her, if you know what I mean, mister. We used to sneak in her yard in the dark and peek through the window. One time we saw Miss Bellows with a fellow. Yes, we did, mister. Them was naked too. That's all I got to say about that. Thank you. Almost forgot. Mr. Everett is in that container over there. I got distracted telling the story, but he's in there. Bye-bye now. Hey, mister. I knew you'd be back to talk with old Leo here. Yes, I did. It's like Lady Larice said when she opened a bathhouse in the basement of my apartment building. They can only get so far before they're aching to get back. And lots of folk really did keep coming back. No trouble at all, mister. Oh, I'm just making some covers for them containers here. Yes, I am.
The containers in the yard are green in Wild Pine's livery, and the mountains rising behind Leo is all red in Union colors. It's like some red infection was spreading outwards from the container yard's core.
Yes, they are hiding it from the inside. All the red containers have the Debarders Union logo on them.
No, not really. Miss Aaaaaa doesn't tell me all the big things. Says I go and tell them to everyone. Oh, no trouble at all, mister. No trouble at all.
Before you stands a cargo container, just one of many in the yard.
You do? Because I don't. There are 1 million containers here. Why are you fixating on this one? There may very well be, but we are not here to look for that. We are not here to interact with containers. We are here to get the body down from the tree.
No reply. You attempt to turn the handle, to no avail. The doors seem to be mechanically locked. To your left, the lieutenant considers your actions with some puzzlement. Before you is a walrus of a man, seated behind a large desk. He looks up from his work, not the least bit surprised to see you. With great effort, he straightens himself up in his chair, yet says nothing. He simply stares at you.
A typical power play. Wait for him to speak first. Show him you've got a backbone.
The one good eye of this man fills you up without even flickering. The other, his lazy eye, is constantly moving like a goldfish in a tank.
Grotesquely magnified by his +6 glasses.
For a moment, you don't know where to look. It is unbearably humid in the trailer. Beads of sweat slide down the man's forehead. At first, nothing happens. His face wears a wide and self-satisfied smile. Every now and then, he smacks his big lips.
Like a general over his maps, he plots his moves. Judging by the way he's licking his chops, it's going to be a good one.
So... Mr. Dubois, Mr. Kitsuragi, how nice that you found a moment to pay a visit to the Debarders Union. I'm Everard Clare, head of this little operation here. Please, have a seat.
The folding chair looks like a torture device. Extremely uncomfortable.
You go ahead, detective.
Whatever he has in store for you, it can't be good, he thinks. I'll do my best.
Forget about that. What's with this Dubois stuff? You're getting some seriously bad vibes from that name.
Excellent, Mr. Dubois. I can see that you're a reasonable man, and reasonable men Reasonable men can be of great use to one another. So tell me, how can the head of the Debarders Union help a representative of the Revachol Citizens Militia today?
The chair you're sitting on has got to be the most uncomfortable chair in the world. It's violating your backside.
Oh, by the way, I heard you got a rather rude reception from a certain Lawrence Gart. Some people have no manners, it pains me to say. This should take care of that nonsense. It should be sufficient to cover your expenses for a few days and patch over your differences with a cafeteria manager. Go ahead, take it.
Hey, that's 25 real. That's good money. Think of all the stuff you could.
Don't mention it, but also don't forget it. I'm just kidding, of course.
Is he?
Now, I'd like to set your mind at ease about one other matter. Your lost gun. Let me assure you, Union people are on it as we speak. I've got my best hounds looking for that lost gun.
His slug-like lips move, but all you hear is an echo. Lost gun, lost gun, lost gun. The world is swallowed by a black hole of fear. Only two words escape its gravitational pull. Lost and gun.
Are you all right, Harry? You say you got this, but you seem a little anxious to me. Don't be. Everything's going to be all right. It's not like you left it loaded. You didn't lose a loaded gun. Local children aren't out there playing with it right now, pointing it into their own mouths. It's in a safe place. I just know it. I have a feeling everything's going to be all right.
It was loaded. There were 2 bullets in it. You always keep at least 2 barrels loaded.
Officer, we will deal with this later. We don't need Mr. Clare's help with this.
I wouldn't be so sure about that.
God, you're sweating. Your knee is jerking. You're about to cry, aren't you? You're about to cry because you lost your gun and those children are gonna shoot themselves with it.
Mr. Dubois, you don't look so good.
What is this, Mr. Dubois? He keeps repeating. What is he trying to pull here? You need to cool the fuck down. Chill.
Mr. Dubois! Mr. Dubois! Harry! Mr. Dubois, are you okay? Can I get you a glass of water or something? Are you having some kind of medical emergency?
Maybe you could use your hands somehow, in a kind of throw-in motion, like you're throwing that Mr. Dubois act right back at him. He's Mr. Dubois.
What an odd demonstration of, You got me, Harry. I don't even know what. As entertaining as it was, I'm afraid we're wasting our time. And I'm an extremely busy man, as I'm sure you are too.
Okay, enough. We are here to ask you some questions pertaining to a murder investigation.
Quick, here's your window. Get yourself together and ask him questions. It is about time to stop embarrassing yourself. Questions will help you regain some of your lost dignity.
Wait. You need this to get in and out through the gate. Here, you're one of us now. A real red and white union man. Take care, Harry. Mr. Dubois, a pleasure as always. You don't have to sit down this time, since you've already sat on that chair. Oh, of course. That's your main thing here. That's why you're in Martinez. I know everything that goes on around here, and I would love to discuss it with you. I mean, it's no secret that the lynching is connected to the strike. So much to talk about. Honestly, it's been weighing on me so heavily. I understand you need to interview me. But there's a thing that's been keeping me up at night. I want to talk about the hanging. I mean, if we could just calmly talk, exchange information, we could blow this thing wide open.
Yes, that sounds good. Let's do that.
But I can't think straight with this thing weighing on me. You're police officers, aren't you? I have a crazy idea. You guys are basically door-opening machines, incredibly talented at opening doors. And I'm sure you're going to open this one with flying colours, Harry. This really is very simple, and there's nothing shady about it.
Does this jiggling ooze think he's going to use you? He's got another thing coming. Play his game, son, with your eyes peeled. He's going to slip up, and when he does, you're going to come out on top.
Oh, no one's. It's just a weasel. A weasel lives there. Nothing for you to worry about. A loud blabbering weasel. When weasels feel no one is watching, they start acting foolishly. Just go there, unlock the door, and leave it open. It's been such a burden on me, Harry. I just want this to be over so I can discuss business with you. Harry, I'm a very busy man, and more importantly, I don't have that extraordinary physique you do. You look like you could run around all day.
You want to send someone a message that the police are working for you.
I repeat, I'm a very, very busy man, Mr. Kitsuragi, and therefore I must occasionally enlist outside help. So what will it be, Harry? Harry, my dear friend, I am what people call a local bigwig. I know everything that goes on in Martinez. Fantastic, my friend. Just let me know when it's done and we can take our friendship to the next level. You can get the key from Manana. He's down by the gates. Manana's like a free agent in the Union. Special operations. Hardened socialist. A real free thinker, too. He'll tell you precisely where the door is. One last thing, Harry. Just open the door. You don't need to go in or anything. I just want that weasel to come home and see the unlocked door. Of course. Let us dispatch with the formalities. You call me Everett, I call you Harry.
That's what the hanged corpse called you. Harry.
My God, so it's true. I didn't want to believe it, but you are a fantastic science fiction amnesiac cop, aren't you? What are the odds of that?
I think the odds of that are very low.
So good to hear that, Harry. Apparently my sources were wrong. However, if you did have a spot of memory trouble, I could help you out. With my big fat folder.
Are you trying to tell me you've gotten hold of some of our documents?
Mr. Kitsuragi, would you mind? Me and Harry are talking about his lost identity right now. Ah, this? My friends in your organization gave it to me, Harry.
I find that very suspicious. May I have a look?
I'm afraid this is meant for Union eyes only, Mr. Kitsuragi. I'm sure you understand. Please continue, Harry. Of course, Harry, of course. Let's not linger on personal details and amnesia. You wanted something from me. Oh, that's very nice. I haven't gotten around to her yet. I'm very, very busy, you see. I hope you're getting along. One thing I want to make very clear, Harry, is that this is not some kind of union versus corporation situation. Everyone is just pals here. Yes, we're all trying to do what's best for Martinez. Don't feel like you shouldn't work with her just because you and I are such good friends. I'm not...
Whoa, that's so nice of him. Suspiciously nice.
If she actually wants to see me, she will find a way. Any good negotiator would. And I just don't have anything to discuss with a bad negotiator.
He doesn't want to see her. It's as simple as that.
What do you mean, Harry? Nothing. I let him go. He's an old man, Harry. I wanted him to spend more time with his family. God knows how long he's got left. Harry! I have little people in my organization. I would never call someone a midget. What is this? Honestly, I'm beginning to think you're a midget, Harry. I'm only kidding, Harry. You're not a midget. No one is. We're pals.
It's hard to say if he really lost his temper, or if this is another one of his tricks. This man almost never angers visibly.
Vanished? Harry, the woman left her casserole in the oven and couldn't make it here in time for the voting. Oh, did I leave my casserole on? Better go home and check. The election can wait. When she got back, the whole thing was over. I'm just a nice guy, Harry. I wouldn't be where I am now if I wasn't nice. Politics is all about emotions, and I want you to have positive emotions when you think of me.
Okay then, positive emotions it is. You like positive emotions.
Yes, yes. Low balling, of course. This isn't a casino, Harry. Real people, real livelihoods are at stake here. But everything's a casino for those rich types.
His expression makes it clear. This is childish and irresponsible behavior.
Of course, Harry. Let me just assure you one more time. I have no interest in what she is doing. but I myself have nothing to hide. Your business is your business, and I respect your privacy. Just remember, none of this is secret. Tell her about all of it. My brother's picture, my singing swordfish clock. Tell her how overweight I am and how I'm helping you find your lost gun. Tell her about everything. Everett doesn't mind.
This is weird. Not nice weird, but okay.
My dear Harry, there are literally millions of containers in this harbor. I couldn't possibly remember what's in all of them. Harry, you smooth-talking son of a bitch. Time is a precious resource, and I don't have enough of it to count containers with you.
Smooth talking. Maybe that's the way to go about opening the container. You should at least try convincing it.
What? Harry, how could you say that to me? You know I appreciate a joke as much as any jolly fat guy, but I can't take slander. Are you actually investigating this? You've hurt me, Harry. Me, a friend. But you know what?
And gets over it in 2 seconds. Seems like it didn't really hurt him.
I trust you, like I trust all my friends. And I know you'll never talk to me about this again, because you don't want to wound me. So do what you want, and let's change the subject.
Thank you for your understanding. We will continue to do what we must.
You too, Lieutenant. You know, I like you, but you never were my favorite. I'm a Harry guy. I'm Team Harry.
None taken. Did we have anything else to do here, Harry?
See you soon, Debardeur. Just kidding, but not too much. Mr. Dubois, a pleasure as always. You don't have to sit down this time, since you've already... Mr. Dubois, a pleasure as always. Ah, yes, your side investigation. Thank you. You've got some spirit clearing up phony drug accusations alongside this murder. I'll talk to the mayor and see if I can get you the key to the city, Harry. Now let's talk real business.
Not even a speck of anger in his voice. That's that then.
Yes, your lost gun. My best men are on it. They're turning Your gun will be found, Harry. Let me assure you of that.
The only way to find it seems to be working with him. He might even be holding your gun hostage. Who knows? Only one thing is certain. If you work with him, you're going to get it back. And working with him might be the only way to do it.
Yes, thank you for the hot tip regarding your lost gun, Harry. My men have indeed factored in that you pawned it. Now please, let the professionals do their job. Kick back, Harry, relax. I have great guys on this. You...
It did not come as a surprise to him. He might actually not be bullshitting.
Harry, I was only trying to be tactful. A lost gun is a dangerous thing. I can't have it around in my neighborhood. Kids could be playing gun roulette with it as we speak. Teenage gangs could be arming themselves. Get a hold of yourself, Harry.
I assure you, we are working on locating the missing sidearm as well.
The lieutenant is concerned about the lost gun and feels that the fact you haven't prioritized looking for it is unfortunate, if inevitable, and doesn't put the RCM in a good...
Excellent, Mr. Kitsuragi. That's excellent news. Looks like we have a friendly gun-finding competition on our hands.
Hey, mister. I knew you'd be back. No trouble at all, mister. No trouble at all. It's like that old saying goes.
You're back before the cargo container. Its draw has not lessened since you were last here. You're back before the cargo container. Its draw has not... Why are you even trying to open a door with rhetoric?
Because what wasn't an option? Now is not the time to get philosophical, detective. You can do that after hours.
The front of this quarterly journal features a large satirical portrait of the late King Friesel. From the sides of his head, a pair of white antlers spread to the corners of the cover. Because white antlers are one of the symbols of communism, they represent a society in accord with the natural world and at the same time above it. Because Friesel was incompetent, foolish, and cruel. In short, the embodiment of everything the communards wished to overthrow. It's satire, you see. To your disappointment, there aren't any full-color pictures to direct your attention. Just column after column of closely set text, interrupted occasionally by little doodles in black. After rifling the pages with your thumb the magazine is divided into several sections. International developments, Kunst und Kultur, and local concerns. Just inside the cover, there's also an editor's note.
So, how'd you like our harbor? It's but a rest area on the path leading across open plains. Right. You talk to the boss, eye to eye, like men of the plain. If you have any more questions, I'm set to talk. The mercenary, eh? Who could have killed him? That's indeed the question. Why even do such a thing? What a thought! Why would noble workers resort to such a thing? Unless they were pushed, of course. Your dead guy was an enemy combatant. He was an agent of the opposition, attempting to undermine our honorable efforts. I ain't the murdering type, but that's just me. Large organizations like our union have all sorts of men, with all sorts of skills.
He means a more violent faction could easily take care of such a thing.
Understood. This has been of limited use. Still, thank you.
No problem. I wish the best to you in your search. Sure, I'm glad it's not my search. A key, huh? What door is this key supposed to open? Of course, I got you. You don't know anything. I got that key right here. And let me tell you, it's mighty good of you to help us out during the strike. Working class solidarity, as they say. I'm not so sure about the hustle grind, but you know, it doesn't matter. It's a good thing you're doing. What you're looking for is a basement door behind the greenhouse. That's behind the wailing in rags. That's all I know. Our organization is what you call compartmentalized. Means we keep out of each other's business.
Okay, but where did you get the key from?
The janitor gave it to me. Nice fella. We talked about life and things that really, truly matter. None of this mess we're in. This jiving and juggling. What's it for? To feed our children, I guess. I'm more of a philosophical dock worker. I like to talk about the big picture stuff. Who I am, who you are, what we are fighting for.
Who he is, and what they're fighting for? This is interesting.
We're negotiating our share. Aye. This stuff, they already covered. It's not enough. Not enough to get ahead. More about keeping us in our place. All of it. However, right now we want all the harbor workers to be on the company's board, so they could take part in the decision-making process. No. I don't think I'm a communist. Seeing something of value and saying I want it all to myself is a much older and simpler notion. No science to it at all. Even a weak child can think it. The only things holding someone back are I can't and I shouldn't. Just the way the world works, boyadero. I think it's best you make up your own mind now that you've met him. In my eyes, he is a capable organizer and a decent businessman. I guess you kind of get to be the village chief. He oversees the harbor, makes deals with the owners or other relevant parties, watches out for his own.
By that, you mean corruption?
By heavens, why would he not be corrupt? We live in a harsh and disordered world, see? And in this world, the old man is corrupt for our benefit, and we know it. Appreciate it even. He is, personally, not too lavish. He is reasonably lavish, sure. That's his prerogative. It's not like you want a saintly demeanor on a corrupt motherfucker. That would be a manipulative illusion.
Not you, you would like to say. But then there's that weasel door.
Sure, I've had the necessary free time. Fortunately, there's always time.
The look in his brown eyes conjures up an understanding. For him, having command of his time is the most important thing. The man sits on the railing, his hands reaching That felt good. Your heart's pounding nicely. You should tell people to fuck off more often. That's the spirit. Never forget, the whole world's a wooden house and you're a goddamn flamethrower. The tear machine. Your bottles clunk into the machine. And do you know what you should do with them? Just an ordinary wall. Nothing to see here. This must be it. The basement door is weather-worn. The copper nails holding the upholstery in place have turned green from sea air, and there's a knocker shaped like a lion's head. The leather upholstery is worn and rough against your jaw. You don't hear any movement. In fact, it's oddly silent in the yard around you. No birds chirp. You knock silently. The upholstery muffles the sound.
I guess no one is in? Let's be honest. This isn't what I joined the RCM for, but every day tells you something new about yourself. Apparently, working with the local union boss to get info on an investigation is not something I'm squeamish about. If the Merc Tribunal happens before we solve this, we are looking at casualties. What's one unlocked door compared to that? On the other hand, we could just leave and tell Evrart we opened the door. No one seems to be tailing us to see if we actually did it. Yes, presenting a fabrication is known to get results here and there. You took this task. You make the call.
The door is right here. You can just open it and be done with this. Besides, if you never open it, you're never gonna find out what's behind the door. You try to be as silent as you can. It takes a bit of rattling of the handle to loosen the bolt. Finally, the door unlocks with a small clack. Thoughts race through your head. Well, buddy, you opened it. No need to go inside. It would be good job. Let's go now. I'm sure there's nothing interesting in there. Only curiosity could account for stepping over that threshold. Maybe there's treasure in there. A white alligator. A fountain of quicksilver. As you hold the open door, you can feel the air moving. A little. A row of mugs sits on the shelf. Each one depicts a human figure. A dark-skinned woman grinning amidst mysterious symbols. A broad-shouldered man shoveling potatoes, and others. A little ring. Though cheerful, the images on the ceramic make you vaguely uncomfortable. The images betray a lack of interest in human beings. They are merely unflattering caricatures. The owner of these mugs doesn't like people of other ethnicities very much. This person is unhappy. The lieutenant picks up one of the mugs, then puts it back down with a look of disdain.
I'm beginning to feel better about breaking into this man's apartment.
Yes, your broken mug friend would feel very much at home here. The same humor, the same mocking line.
There's the missing tin soldier. Whoever lives here might have used the Whirling's container to dump his trash. And now they've drawn the ire of the Union. The plot thickens, as they say.
An interesting little clue. Let's see where this goes. Clues have a way of magically connecting to other clues down the road. Perhaps you should break into apartments more often.
Who knows? I'm not expecting too much from this clothes in the trash lead either way. It might turn out to be some random local matter, but still, a nice coincidence. Yes?
Master Investigator, you just can't keep yourself away from locked and hidden places, can you? Nothing, nothing. You're right. Get in there. Deep. Invade every personal space. Break every lock. Sure, friend. This is nothing sordid.
Nothing inappropriate. You just have to do this. It's your duty. There are several footprints in the mud, left by work boots, anywhere from 6 to 12 pins. There are several footprints in the mud, left by... Wow, still not doing it. You're bad at this. What else is there to do?
Mr. Dubois, a pleasure as always. You don't have to sit down this time, since you've already sat on that chair.
You might have noticed there's one hanging on a tree behind the hostel cafeteria.
Oh my. Don't take this question personally, but why would I get involved in this matter?
Mr. Clare, the man was hanged with a cargo belt. A steel-reinforced cargo belt. It's safe to assume the Union had something to do with the murder. Besides, getting the body down would benefit all of us. It's a stain on the neighborhood.
I can certainly see how having him up there might start affecting some real estate values. But of course, all joking aside, I am going to help you. Jean-Luc, the cop who bested you in physical combat is here, and he has a little dead body in a tree problem. Namely, he needs it to be taken down. Please extend him this courtesy. You can find Luke down at the gates, but you already knew that. Anyway, he's going to help you, now that he's back on his feet. I'm very glad to hear that, Harry. One question. You didn't actually happen to stumble in and see what's inside the apartment, did you?
There is no way to sway this man in any direction. He is unsuggestible and unswayable. Just tell the truth.
Just as I thought. Culturally antiquated mug collection. What a weasel. Pissing on Everart's Rainbow Coalition. Now let's get down to brass tacks. It's time for men like me and you to figure out who's killed who and why. Real police work is gonna start happening now. I promise you, Harry, this is gonna be good. Racist mugs in the trash and in the apartment? You guys are just light years ahead of me. I have so much confidence in the ability of your organization. I'm relieved you're doing this and leaving me to do what I do best. Helping people. With the power of politics.
Yes, yes. Do you think this weasel is somehow connected to the murder?
Oh, no, 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 no. I don't cross paths like that. All I want is for you to succeed in your investigation. I would never complicate things for you. Believe me, Harry, he's a nobody. Just your basement variety nobody. Can't imagine him being connected to a high-caliber case like this. But he does live nearby. Maybe it's a pedantic weasel. Fascists are known to be neat freaks. I feel like a real detective right now, Harry. Am I getting this right?
That's not how you baton someone. The technique is way off. You strike with your whole body, not just the baton.
Of course, Harry. I'm not a real police officer. You are.
That's all he's going to say on this subject.
By now, I'm sure you've figured out who the dead man was working for. The bad guys. Wild Pines. Sent to scare us. Another violent measure of the top hats against us flatcaps. Harry, this strike is the culmination of many, many mistakes made by the Wild Pines group. They tried to shut the strike down by sending in armed mercenaries.
You mean our victim?
A security contractor? Can you imagine that? Workers standing in peaceful protest, united in the spirit of fellowship, and they send hired killers to mow us down with machine gun fire? I'm talking beasts, hardened killers from proxy wars in Yisut, Semenine, Saramoritsa, you name it, they've done it. Raping, killing, burning villages, killing little children for the Senorita Pineapple Company, Harry. Everything they did there, they brought over here. They want to turn Revachol into a third world slum. Honestly, the only thing they didn't do is kill the village elephant. Now, I haven't personally witnessed the brutalities out there. I have the luxury of staying in my container, you see. If I need to go somewhere, they just move my container. Yes, I'm an old man, Harry. My legs aren't what they used to be. They lift my office with that big crane. It's actually very fun. You should try it. But enough about me and my fun container. The killers the company hired, I think there were 3 of them, all hardened commando types. One of them got downright suicidal, getting drunk, violent, a little rapey. Even their own negotiator couldn't control him. That's your boy, the one who likes hanging out and trees.
By negotiator, you mean Joyce?
Harry, what you need to realize is, we dock workers are not pushovers. We got grit, Harry. This whole neighborhood does. Push us hard enough and we push back. And when we do, we push to kill.
An entire neighborhood of killers.
Potentially, Harry, potentially. We got arm wrestling champions, rowing club people, ex-coal miners, tough guys, all ready to spring into action for their home base. There's a militant wing inside the Union, a group of people whose duties don't involve manual labor, but peacekeeping in the neighborhood, making sure everything runs smoothly.
That sounds a bit like organized crime.
They're like you guys. Idealistic people who want to make sure bad things don't happen. And if they already have, well, punishment must follow.
Again, that sounds like organized crime.
So these idealists killed our victim?
One day Titus Hardy, leader of this peacekeeping faction, comes up to me and says, "Boss, socialist democratic fervor drove us to take it upon ourselves to kill this beast that was burdening the land." He probably worded it differently, but that was the idea. Sure sounded to me like they killed him. I gave them 2 weeks paid leave and told them to lay low to avoid retaliation.
Aren't you worried we might arrest them for this?
Oh, I'm not at all worried about that. These are not the kind of men who get arrested. They're Martinez boys, tough and gritty. I'd like to see the man who takes them in. Besides, I sent my lawyer girl to look after them.
If he's just boasting, then it sure doesn't feel like that to you. He's not worried.
How do I know? Let me tell you about these people. That's their MO. It's what they do. Last winter, some poor workers in Terminal E went on a little strike. The company sent in Sediment, a security contractor. The strike was over the workers' right to wear protective footwear, Harry. These guys turn up and start beating people. Tell you what, Harry, I wouldn't be surprised if we got the same mercenary company, after a little rebranding. And I'm sure as hell not surprised to see an army of scabs under my gates.
So you believe the scabs were organized by the security contractor?
You said it. Hell, one of those guys looks big enough to take down that proverbial elephant. Boys like that don't just happen to show up during strikes. Of course, you're always one step ahead of me, Harry. I'm no genius. I'm in this position because people like me. Tribunal? That sounds serious, Harry. We union men should be shitting ourselves. I wish you hadn't told me that. I'm gonna lose sleep over this. Let's change the subject.
He's clearly happy about the tribunal.
Oh, Harry, what do I really think about the tribunal? You're trying to climb to second base with old Everard before you've even courted him properly. Oh, Liz is a bright one. I paid for that law degree myself, thinking it'll probably turn her all fancy. But hell, Harry, she came back a firebrand socialist. Sometimes she scares me with her zeal. Oh, they are simply fine young men, all 7 of them. Exemplary union members, always working to advance their position in the local socialist democratic movement. Core members. Old Theo used to run them, but things really kicked into gear when Titus took the reins and named the group after himself. Gotta love his initiative.
Interesting. Who's second in command?
They're almost all of them great guys, born leaders. Whatever happened, I'm sure they only had the best interests of Martinez and Revachol in mind. Work with them. Hell, interview them. But don't fight them. They really are just like you. Men who like beer, women, and some order on the streets. You know what, Harry? I got a feeling they're gonna show up in full force tomorrow.
The lieutenant marks something in his notebook.
But of course, it's the least I can do for my good friend Harry. I'll do it right after we've concluded this talk.
When you meet this Titus, tell him about this. See what he has to say.
Also, Harry, here's 5 real. I'm not giving you anything. I'm just holding out 5 real. Oh, I wasn't offering it to you, just holding it out there. But I'm willing to share information. Was there anything else? Was it a good tour? I don't know what happened, Harry. I wanted you to feel like Mr. Martinez. And of course, I also wanted you to find your gun. But it's like I can't completely trust you. Yet. Yes, Harry. It's like I can't fully trust you if you're not a man of the left. I want to, but I just can't.
He's been hurt too much in the past by men who aren't social democrats.
You're saying it, but I don't believe you. You know how it is, company snitches, agent provocateurs everywhere. I'm barricaded in this fortress of mine, and I need to get a message out. Will you help me?
And what we didn't?
Once again, I require nothing unethical or illegal of you. You just need to get 2 little signatures on this piece of paper, and then mail it to my accountant in La Delta.
It depends. I don't think what we just got from Mr. Clare was very useful.
But, he thinks,
as I said, it weighs on me heavily. But once we get really talking, well, I'm going to hand you the keys to Martinez, and maybe even help you figure out who's behind this killing. I'm glad you asked, Harry. The Union is going to build a modern youth center in Martinez. It will be righteous. We're going to get those teenagers off drugs and on roller skates.
roller skating, not drugs, Harry.
There's a nameless little street on the coast with some old houses around it. Most people have already signed. I just need 2 more signatures to get this mission off the ground, Harry. On the coast, Harry, across the canal. There's a cul-de-sac there, a little village they're calling it. A gloomy place. You'll find it. I trust your detective skills.
Water drips from the eaves. A woman looks at her freshly tarred skiff. There's a pair of cavalry boots under the fish in the box, and the wind howls like a vicious spirit.
They are just going to have to deal with the construction noise for 6 months, and then they'll be living like kings. Right next to a fancy new youth centre, designed by the best architects from Stella Marie. You bring joy to my heart, Harry. Such a pleasure to be working with you. You need to get signatures from Isabel Sadie and Lillian Carter. The cul-de-sac is right past the pawn shop and across the canal. I hear there is some trouble with the water lock, but they should fix it by when... Once you have the signatures, mail this to 13022 La Rocca in La Delta. Then I'll know you're a solid socialist.
You're back before the cargo container. It's true.
Do not presume this has drastically altered our race dynamic. True, I said nothing about our personal dynamic. That has altered. A little.
He means very little.
So it was. You bested me in race combat to reach my superior, then had him give me an order. I salute your cunning, enemy. I will go and remove the body from the tree with my bare hands.
You're so noble, Measurehead.
But while I am gone, someone must stand guard on the bridge. That someone needs to be you. Both of you.
That would mean you're openly showing the people that you're taking the Union's side.
This is the uncomfortable result of not taking it on ourselves. I can live with a compromise.
Listen to your little friend. He is wise in his childlike way. His mysterious race may yet prove fierce Yes, that is precisely what it means, homunculus. This is not going to happen any other. Babe, see that they stay here the whole time.
The woman's gaze follows Measurehead as he leaves.
So, you guys are like cops or something? Look at him. His craniometric perfection. Are you cops or what? Have you ever thought that maybe things should go to shit? I'm Katya, by the way.
You hear that? That sound. He's breaking something.
Yeah, Jean-Luc must be really tearing it up over there. I wish I could see it.
Look at you! RCM rent-a-cops! Guarding that bridge like Everott's lapdogs! Is this where it's at now? The RCM is for sale!
Spoken by a mercenary, pretending to be a worker.
A shrill laughter interrupts you, echoing across Martinez. It's Kuno. Then, the man turns to look behind him at the behemoth appearing around the corner, approaching him, walking past him.
The corpse has been removed from the tree. Stand down and congratulate yourself. You have sided with Ray's victory today. And what you had to do was to become a Union man for all to see.
The corpse lies on the ground among the remains of an absolutely demolished pinewood branch. It's gently laid on one side.
Mr. Measurehead has done a good job. Nothing is too broken or compromised. The victim is ready for a field autopsy. Yes. 1. Investigation of the scene. 2. Initial examination of the victim. 3. Field autopsy. 4. Transportation of the body to the morgue. We are on number 3.
The fuck are they on about?
Cop's gonna cut his shit up!
It's not about cutting. And no, you and I are detectives. The honorary rank of detective signifies our ability to handle the entire incident chain, from autopsy to cleanup to social work. An honor and a burden attached to your rank once you've proven yourself able, usually after 5 to 8 years of field work. Mine is Lieutenant Detective. You are. Your station would not have assigned you on this case if you weren't. Now...
The lieutenant adjusts his glasses and takes a deep breath.
Come on, officer. You know what a field autopsy is. You've done 100 of them. Unfortunately, no. They are better than nothing. Tell you what, I perform the anatomical side of things while you will take notes. That's right.
You knew it because you inspected your ledger. The lieutenant is relieved you know the protocol.
Shoot, Looney Rooney. Come back later, Corporal. Amuse yourself with my friend.
The dead man stares in silence as you crack open the ledger. The bright red paper is covered in boxes and lists, describing the condition of his skin and organs in 3 parts. Above those, an 11-field info form needs filling out first. It begins with,
That's you.
the corpse is indifferent to your scribblings, just lies there. The next box says,
KK57 dash.
KK equals Kim Kitsuragi. 57 equals Precinct 57, followed by his date 0803 and time of arrival 0815 on the scene. He's indexed the case after himself, not you.
And what would that make the alphanumeric? I do. KK57. Next. We've heard the nom de guerre. Lely. It's better than nothing. Write it down. What's next? Date of birth? NA. Roughly 50.
The corpse looks ageless, like meat on a hook.
Mondial.
The pudgy mess of curdled meat looks neither mondial nor anything other.
Fucky, fucky!
Male.
Pigs can have sex?
Nor does he look male, with his pregnant belly and indistinguishable face.
We're still going with March 4th. 51. What else? 9. Body identified by is non-applicable. 10. Case number is the same as the coroner's case.
KK 57 0503 0815 listens motionless, with the cargo belt still around his neck. Only one box remains.
None. At least not after the initial examination.
A strange word. Treatment.
Interfering with the body's position or wounds post-mortem.
How did you not know that? Aren't you a cop? You're leaving a weak impression here. Say something sure-handed. A silent nod. The lieutenant places his gloved hand on the corpse's chest, as if in preparation. Your central nervous system recognizes this gesture. It's the stations of the breath. Ecclesiastic, religious in nature, a holdout from pre-DeLorean burial rites. It takes him 2 seconds to perform. Then, somewhere in Jamrock North, a small wood shed behind Rosencrantz Row, Lieutenant Nick Feuerbach puts his hand to the chest of a small corpse, no larger than a monkey. It's raining outside, light drizzle. There is darkness in the shed. Elsewhere yet, An obese female sits in a wicker chair, her silhouette ball-like against the window. Outside, Grand Coudon. The day is turning dim for Sergeant Mac Dawson. Hand extended, he approaches, to make sure she is dead more than anything else. The building is tall, 7 stories wind-wrapped in solitude. Most of the apartments are unoccupied. This was a suicide. The other, an accident. The small one. And so, all across Jamrock, Coal City, GRIH, 42 deceased persons found today. 42 stations of breath.
We should start the post-mortem.
The corpse cannot feel Kim's hand on his chest. It no longer meaningfully interacts with its surroundings. A thicket of boxes and lists on red copy paper tries to answer why.
Clothes. The deceased wears armored boots and white briefs. The make of the briefs is Babrodine, I think. Let's see.
See, it's happening.
Babrodine, yes. Inexpensive. Size M. Color white.
The disappointment is palpable. The red-haired thing was expecting something more lurid.
The rest of the clothes have been removed post-mortem by scavengers in order to get to the victim's ceramic armor. Officers are in search of the missing pieces. Removal of the boots is left for processing.
Patience. After the autopsy, before the body is taken away, there will be a window of opportunity. After the lieutenant has gone to sleep. I hope this has helped you, my liege.
Tattoos. The upper torso is covered in a single, continuous tattoo resembling a microelectronical circuit board. It reaches from the right shoulder to the heart. The ink is blue and white. The assistant has a color photograph of the markings, to be added to the case files as document A1. The photo is taken on the scene, using a Trigat Mini. The deceased has a cargo lashing belt around his neck, tied with a hangman's knot. Color yellow. Length 3 meters. There is a buckle on the other end. Well-nourished, athletically built, measuring 1.8 meters. Generally consistent with age, about 50. Preservation is good. Ambient temperature, below freezing.
The spine is bent more than the lieutenant compensated for. This buster's actual height is about 1.85. And no, you could not take him straight on.
Of course, I undercompensated. Body hair is light brown. Distribution is consistent with age. The deceased had male pattern baldness. Hair is combed back, short.
His hair feels wet, soaked with rain, cold to touch. Not that different from a living person after a swim. The stench is suffocating. Strands of dark brown hair start sticking to your hand, like thread off a rag doll's head.
Lividity is consistent with hanging. The head is congested. Contusions are present on the head, chest, and thighs. Consistent with stones thrown post-mortem. Low velocity.
Fucking low velocity? You think Kuno doesn't know what you're talking about? Velocity was fucking max. Talking shit about Kuno's velocity.
In addition, there are bite marks on the face, scalp, and chest. Consistent with predation. Ligature mark. The steel wiring. There's too much of it. We need to remove the bell so we can get to the ligature mark.
You got just the right tool for that. The chain cutters. The hanged man lets out a joyous little bubble of rot from his nose.
Always good to think ahead. Now... We need to cut the belt to see the ligature mark below. Carefully, with as much precision as you can.
See? My pig is gonna fuck his head off.
No, he ain't. Your pig's a boring fuck.
The belt is equally tight around the whole circumference of his neck, swelling over the edges like white bread rising from the east. After some deliberation, snap! The knot is slashed. Another cut and the belt falls apart like a flower bouquet, revealing the dead man's neck and the dark red ligature mark around it.
The rope rises to a point, leaving a gap in the ligature mark. The suspension point is in the back of the neck.
As it ought to. This is where its grip on the curdled meat is gentlest, pulling up.
Hemorrhaging is observed on the skin, above and below the ligature mark. The mark is well pronounced, consistent with a drop from 1 or 1.5 meters. Chest is intact, normal contour. Abdomen is protuberant, pelvis intact, genitalia...
No! It's gonna happen, see?
I fucking knew it!
This is clearly what they've been waiting for, ever since the autopsy began. The lieutenant is trying to make it as boring as possible.
Genitalia is male and unremarkable. No evidence of injury.
The dead man's penis is average-sized, congested from the downward collection of blood. The testicles are uneven in length, hanging underneath. You should touch it.
Ah yes, your hunch before. We can have a semen analysis requested from processing, if that's what you meant. Just write down that we request an...
The corpse with his pants down.
Back is symmetrical and intact. Upper and lower extremities are intact, but asymmetrical. There are combat injuries on the right hand, thigh, and hip.
Bullets have bitten little pieces out of him. It must have been excruciating, especially the hip. Before you is a temple of pain that knew little tenderness in life.
In addition, I see smaller, residual scars, too numerous to count, covering about 30% of his skin. We have a real museum here. Of battles, wars, last item, hands.
His flesh is cold, icy.
Pleased to meet you. Where are you from and what's your name? I'm only fucking with you. I know where you're from. From Cappadocia. And your name is Il Corbo. What can I do you for, Il Corbo de Cappadocia? You get me, Kobo. I feel like you were once, for tenderness and kisses yourself, but then shit went south and now you're ahead of even me on the pain front. We should do this more often. Be close like this, I mean.
Hands are clean. No sign of injury from struggling. I was. Maybe I'm just not seeing them. Honestly, this stench is making it hard for me to think at the moment. Ooh. That's all for the external. Well done. What next? Central nervous system. I have nothing. Do you have anything on this man's central nervous system?
You don't even have a joke.
Musculoskeletal. Purge fluid is coming from the mouth. Not injury related. Eyes and tongue protuberant. Hyoid bone. Let's see.
With his eyes almost closed, the lieutenant puts his hand on the dead man's throat and begins to massage it, gently. A rotting smell erupts.
Yeah, Jack, that fuck!
The hyoid bone is fractured. The rest of the musculoskeletal system is intact. Unremarkable. Respiratory system.
really doing it. The dead man's teeth cut into his gloved hand.
Oral cavity shows no lesions. The victim has received dental implants, possibly after a combat wound. Mouth swollen, hemorrhaging present in mucosa of the lips and mouth.
From here, it looks as though the clown-faced man is screaming. The tendons of his jaw are torn apart. Hyoid, ripped from the force of the lieutenant's hands. No scream, no sigh of relief rises from the darkness inside. It's humid there. Sickly sweet air, unlike anything living. You feel like throwing up. Straight in that mouth. No, you don't. You can keep it in. You can keep anything in. You manage to suppress the contractions trying to enter your stomach. All it takes is concentration. Through it, you see nothing but darkness. More meat and darkness.
There are ancient mysteries down there, Kobo. Ask me later.
Hemorrhaging present in mucus. Hepatobiliary, NA. Ah, are you a hepatobiliary expert? Neither am I. That's it. Same for toxicology and serology, NA. Unless you have untapped reservoirs of knowledge there? We already have one test as per regulation, and we already requested semen.
Pigs requested semen like it's no big deal.
I'm not even interested in these boring mulkers anymore. I haven't sucked him off or anything.
At a request, then, we'll know if drugs or poisons remain in his blood. At this stage, I doubt processing will find anything, even if he was brimming with it. Cardiovascular. The body exhibits heavy lividity. Blood has gathered in the hands, feet, and neck. Gastrointestinal.
This will do.
Digested semi-solid food in stomach. Voila. What's next on the list? Let's see. We have bite marks, contusions on the head and chest, and a ligature mark encircling the neck. You'll need 3 fields. Leave a 4th one too. Oh, so we inflicted them? Okay, so there's a spin-stabilized munition from a Kiel A990 muzzleloader lodged in his lung. I don't think we should mention that. Better not to muddy the waters.
See? These pigs are fucking corrupt.
Why don't you fuck him if you love him so much?
Now, injuries. Head, chest and scalp bite mark injuries. Predation by birds has caused damage to the body. Odontologist does not need to be And your opinion, officer? Agreed. Next injury? So, the scalp bleeds from a post-mortem head injury, a stone. The injury does not have the rim of an early inflammatory response. The perpetrator on the scene has confessed to causing it post-mortem.
At maximum velocity, fucko!
Has confessed to causing it at maximum velocity.
Coagulated blood sticks to his scalp and chest, where the countless stones have hit the dead man, beneath the description of injury.
Right. Next. A dark red abraded ligature mark encircling the neck, with a gap on the nape measuring, let's say, 7 centimeters. The hyoid bone is fractured, the cervical column intact. I see hemorrhaging on the skin, above and below the ligature mark. Depth of the mark, 1 centimeter. No signs of clawing on the neck.
Below the note, 2 customary boxes wait to be ticked. The man's head jerks to the side. The ring around his neck is visible. What was that about no clawing around the neck? You'd be clawing for your life.
is deep in thought, eyes fixed on the bright red ring around the dead man's neck.
Why do you say that? Okay. Why don't you think it was fatal? Honestly, I'm not sure there weren't marks on his wrists. That part got blurry for me. The stench. But you are right. There should be signs of struggle. Let's leave the cause of death empty for the time being. Let's wrap this up. I pronounce this field autopsy over. It was an irregular field autopsy. We did not establish cause of death, which is supposed to be the goal of an autopsy. But, personally, I do not see this as a parameter for success. We requested a test to be run on the genitals. That was the règle. The results should arrive in a couple of weeks if we are lucky. I will not hold my breath. We were thorough with the list of injuries too. We described them all in detail. What is there to say? Given the circumstances, it was a professional field autopsy.
Oh yeah, well done, Master Detective. Maybe a drink is in order?
I need a copy of that autopsy form. Then I will drive him to Faubourg for processing.
He's thinking, did I miss something?
I thought we decided to leave it to processing.
Okay, so you can sneak out of your room maybe, after he's gone to sleep. The lieutenant adjusts his glasses and takes a deep breath. There are several footprints in the mud.
You missed a...
He fucked the tree up! Fucked it good! It was...
Shoot that shit at Kuno, Pigonaut! Kuno doesn't...
You see a set of tire tracks in the brown slush that covers the plaza mosaic. Cop habit. You look at everything. This isn't case-related, you think? Hard to say. see a set of tire tracks in a brown slab. The tire tracks were left here by an unknown event that took place some days ago. It's a message, written in the language of burnt rubber. Some of that rubber stuck to the tiles right in front of the whirling in rags. This is point A. The driver started there and then accelerated straight into the fence, left a hole big enough for the Franco-Nigerian cavalry, according to the cafeteria manager. Why that pang of guilt again? The hole in this fence doesn't look that huge. He was exaggerating. People blame cops for everything that goes wrong in the world. This has nothing to do with you. The driver proceeded to back out of the yard, barely stopping before hitting the adjacent building, before heading south. Must have been in a hurry.
I'm not sure. There are plenty of traffic accidents waiting to happen in Martinez. With the jam right here on the roundabout, I would keep them separate.
You could follow the track south. There seems to be a canal there. See where they went, if you find the time.
You are correct. This is a rather motor carriage-friendly city.
Somehow that makes you feel scared. You don't know why. There are several footprints in the mud, left by work boots. Anywhere from 6 to 12 pairs have walked. Wow, still not doing it. You're bad at this. Maybe you keep failing because you suck.